Well, I was recently tagged by my stepbrother Sam Broom over at Sam Broom Fragrances. Shout out to you, homie. And he was tagged, I don't know if he started the tag or he was tagged, to bring my 10 blind buy fragrances that actually worked out. So blind buy fragrances maybe you weren't too certain of, or were really walking out on a limb, whether it be because they were really expensive blind buys, and or maybe there was a lot of negative things out there and you went ahead and blind bought it anyway, just kind of taking a risk and ended up liking them a lot. Well, I definitely got plenty of those, but I narrowed it down to the 10 that had me most skeptical when I blind bought them, and they actually really worked out. So stay tuned. So before we jump too far into this, I'm going to go ahead and tag a couple of people and go ahead and get that out the way. Justin, Stay Fresh Productions, you are tagged. Paige of Stylez, you are tagged. I checked with both of them before this. Just happened to be talking to them when I was saying I was going to shoot this video in a little bit. And I said, hey, you want me to tag you? They were up for it. So Justin and Paige, you are both tagged, my friends. And let's go ahead and jump into this first one. So one that I've heard mixed reviews on. Definitely not a cheap blind buy. One of the most expensive blind buys I've ever made, really. Spent a little over $200 on this fragrance, and it was a complete blind buy. Not the only time I've spent close to that on a blind buy. I've done it a bunch of times, but this is one that, based on the mixed reviews I've seen about it being basic or not enough character or weak performance, it was definitely pretty risky. That being Creed Viking. So this is one that I'm so happy that I did buy it. Man, because look, I've heard the whole old niche version of Old Spice thing, and I've heard people say it's kind of a, say it in a negative light, but I actually really dig that about this. With the new Creed Viking cologne just releasing, I haven't tried that. I haven't heard too many good things about that one either. But I heard more good things about this one than bad, mostly from Chris over at Fragmental and Justin, who I tagged in this video for Stay Fresh Productions. I know they were both fans of it, and they kind of sold me on it. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. I jumped on FragranceNet because Vinba Fragrances was currently out of stock, because Vinba actually had it a little bit cheaper if they would have had stock at the time than FragranceNet. But I went ahead and scooped it. It was right around $200 and some change, low 200s. After shipping, after using the 35% off coupon code. It's a 2018 E01 batch, if I remember correctly. It performs very well. It's not some beast in projection. It's the right amount of projection, kind of what I would call a professional level, where it's not just going to grab people from 5-6 feet away, but if they come within a few feet of you when you walk by, they'll get a nice mild whiff that may intrigue them enough to be drawn in by it, or maybe ask a question, pay you a nice compliment, whatever have you. That's a nice, solid type of projection for me. It doesn't have to be overwhelming for me to enjoy it, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming for somebody to smell you. And I get every bit of anywhere from 7 to 9 hours out of it, which I'm good with. That's perfect. That's right in that perfect range for me. A fragrance doesn't have to do 12 plus hours for me to be happy with it. Pretty much as long as I can get about 6 hours to 10 hours, depending on the scent profile, I'm good. And this one, I get right in the middle of that, 7 to 9 every time I wear it, more in that 8-hour range. I have gotten 9 hours out of it before, but it's mainly 7 to 8 hours. I'm good with that. Definitely one of the most expensive blind buys I've ever had, and it definitely worked out because I love it. One of my more recent blind buys is a discontinued sport fragrance that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a long time now. I was skeptical that it could potentially be just a basic sport scent type of smell. I've heard that it got discontinued for a reason. The popularity wasn't there. But when I got it, and I got that first sniff, there's so much more character. I don't even know how it's called a sport fragrance because there's so much character in it. I'm talking about Gucci Sport. Recently picked this up from Kingdom Fragrances. This was a tester bottle. It was right around 50 bucks, I believe I paid for this one. I love it. The fig in this one plays such a prominent role. It's a juicy watery fig. There's a soapiness here. There's some mild fresh herbs going on for it with a little bit of citrus bite up top. It's actually got a lot of character for being a sport fragrance, because traditionally a sport fragrance is just like a basic woody aromatic type of scent. A little bit of citrus up top, some woods, maybe a little bit of fresh herbs somewhere in there. Just basic run-of-the-mill stuff. A sport scent. That's an actual term, a sport scent. It's a generic term, really. This doesn't fall into that completely. Yes, it has some of those characteristics, but I think that fig really sets this one apart. It really adds a lot of character to this one. Adds a watery nature that goes well with something that's going to be called sport for sure. Haven't done a whole lot of testing on it yet. I will be doing a collaboration review with Chad from A Gentleman's Journey on this fragrance on his channel coming up sometime late June. I'm still in my testing phase. I got to get that footage over to him in the next 2 weeks or so, if I remember correctly. So over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be testing this one pretty heavily. So be on the lookout for that review sometime later in June on A Gentleman's Journey YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm digging this one so far. This was a bold blind buy because it's not like it was some $20 fragrance, but it wasn't as expensive as Creed Viking either, obviously. But it's one that there was so much naysay that I read that it was definitely a bit bold. That's why I say bold. But I'm digging it. I'm absolutely loving this one so far. Don't know who will agree with me, who's smelled it before, but I think it's an underrated little discontinued gem with Gucci Sport. Next, I have fallen head over heels in love with this fragrance. So I had a different concentration. I had a decant, which is the famed version of this fragrance that gets all the love, all the hype, because it performs, it's super mass appealing, versatile, compliment getter, the whole nine. But I just went ahead and said, you know what, that one's a little much for me. I want to try the Eau de Toilette. And I just pulled the trigger one day. Same haul as Gucci Sport, actually. Some of you know where I'm going with this. YSLY, the Eau de Toilette. I love this stuff, man. I really do. I have the Eau Fraiche and Y Live. Package just got shipped today, coming from Fragrance Net. But I love this stuff. It's so good. So good. Citrus, super fresh, aldehydes. It's just crisp and bright. So bright. A little bit of ginger, a little bit of sage, not overbearing with the sage. A lot more sage going on in the Eau de Parfum. That's much more cloying, got a bit more sweetness going for it. This one's right in that sweet spot of longevity and projection. A little bit stronger projection than the sweet spot I was talking about earlier with Creed Viking. Definitely projects harder and heavier than that, but I get about in the same neighborhood of longevity, 6-7-ish hours. That's plenty for me. I got a good price from Steve in that same haul that I got Gucci Sport. And look, the reason this one's a blind buy that actually worked out is because I could have been disappointed with this one and said, man, damn it, I should have got the EDP. Because I wore 10 milliliters of the EDP. I've worn it several times. 10 milliliters of a fragrance, that's a lot of wearings. That's a lot of wearings. That's double-digit wearings. You know, I wore it a bunch of times. I did a full review on it. I don't not love the fragrance. It's a great fragrance, but I thought, you know what? I feel like the better fit for me could be just a little bit lighter version of this. And I looked at the note breakdown. I saw it looked like a lighter version. I'd never smelled it before, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to go ahead and just pull the trigger on the EDT. I don't think I'll hate it, but there was the potential that I'm like, man, I should have got the EDP and could have been disappointed, but it turns out it was a great move for me, because I love this way more than the EDP. I will still get a bottle of the EDP eventually. I'm eyeballing getting a 60 ml, but this is definitely a blind buy that worked out, because this has become one of my favorite fragrances in my collection. That's why Eau de Toilette from YSL. Next just so happens to be another Kingdom fragrance purchase. It was 3 in a row that was Kingdom fragrances purchases. And that's it for the list. I didn't organize them that way. It just kind of worked out. But this was one that Steve had a good price on it. Everything I had heard about it was super synthetic, doesn't deserve to be considered a niche fragrance from Bond Number 9. Basically just a fresh, fruity version of Aventus that's super synthetic. And I saw a lot of people, some people saying they get beast mode level performance. Some people saying it's, you know, a 3-hour watered down waste of money. It's overpriced for what it is, It's another niche fragrance, Blind Buy, obviously Bond number 9. I just mentioned that. And I am talking about another one that I love it. It just worked out. Bond9.com. I actually like it more than Aventus. I do. I know there's some people that agree with me. I've had people say in the comments on the review, hey, I like it more too. It's all subjective. It's all subjective. If you like Aventus more than this, hey, I get it. It's all good. Aventus is a great fragrance. But I don't find it overly synthetic. Yes, for being a niche fragrance, it does have a little bit of synthetic nature going for it. But it's so fruity and fresh and enjoyable, and it's a beast on my skin. It's every bit of 8 to 10 hours, and it's a pretty heavy projector for, not several hours, but a few hours. In that 2 to 3 hour range, it's pretty heavy in projection. The few times I've worn it, I did get a few compliments, and I can't stop smelling myself. This is an addictive smell to me. I just like it more than Aventus. Does it replace Aventus in my collection? No. I feel like there's enough differences. While strong similarities, there's enough differences to warrant both for me. But I dig this more. I'd rather wear this than wear Aventus. And look, not everything I read, but a lot of the stuff I was seeing was, it's a waste of money, don't get it. If you have Aventus, pass on it. Which, I've been having Aventus long before I decided to pull the trigger on this. This is a 50 ml. I don't have to spray a lot. 5 sprays is more than enough. It lasts me pretty much my entire day until the evening when I take a shower. And I love the way it smells. It's just, for me, better smell than Aventus. Still love Aventus, not knocking it. This was just a blind buy that worked out so well for me. What it's supposed to smell similar to, I think it's better than. That's Bond9.com. The next one, this was a bit of a ballsy blind buy because it's such a heavy oud. It's a stanky type of oud. It really is. Oud rose, medicinal, church pew type of stuff, biblical kind of smell. Not so much fecal, but barnyardy type of stuff a little bit. It's pungent. It is. And look, I didn't know that at the how heavy that was at the time. But I got a really good price on it. Really, really good price on it. It's from Mancera a while back. And man, I've actually surprisingly gotten some compliments with it. I don't wear it all the time. I got to be in the mood for it because it's pungent. But Mancera The Aoud, if I can get it to focus. There we go. This stuff, and you'll notice, well, you can't see it because of the reflection, but there's a good bit missing. I did decant a little bit for a friend, but I've worn this a few times, and it's potent. It is pungent. It is, whoo! It's one of those when you smell it, it goes, whoo! Yeah, whoo! This is no joke. And look, I could see some people thinking this smells awful. How could you want to wear that? Oh! For the average person. For sure. This is a fragrance enthusiast, aficionado type of scent because it's that type of oud. It is. This stuff's no joke. Is it the most challenging oud out there? No, of course not. I'm sure it's not. But after that first initial astringent sting of the woo type of smell, it's special to me. The Aoud, the oud, however you want to say it, the Arabian oud. I think that's what the Aoud's for. I love this stuff. This is my favorite oud fragrance. Love it so much that I hold it for a special occasion when I want to wear oud. It's my special occasion oud because this is a conversation starter. There's no denying this is going to start a conversation because it's potent. You're going to smell me. You are going to smell me when I wear this fragrance, undoubtedly. And it was a risky blind buy, but the price was so right, and I was wanting to really build up my ouds a little bit more. And this was an interesting place to do it with. Nothing easy wear or slightly synthetic to make it a little bit more wearable. This is not an easy wear oud. It's lovely on skin. It really is. You have to like oud. But man, this was definitely a bold blind buy right here. But the price was so good I had to. And it turns out I really, really enjoy it. That's Mancera The Aoud. So speaking of ouds, Not super risky of a blind buy because it was only 20 bucks at Burlington. But for the $20 you're going to spend, this will tell you if you like oud or not. Some of you may know where I'm going with this. I've done a full review on this one. It's not challenging, but I was worried that it would be so synthetic that it's just, ugh, what a waste of $20, you know? But it turns out it's what I recommend everybody try first because you're only going to spend $20 if you get it from Burlington or at a rack store in general. Banana Republic 17 Oud Mosaic. Oud Rose Plum. Another one of those Claude Dior masterpieces right here. Claude Dior, my man. He did so good with this. A Banana Republic Oud fragrance. That is worth it. I mean, 20 bucks. It's hard for something to not really be worth it in the fragrance world at 20 bucks, but there are fragrances that are a waste of 20 bucks. There's plenty of them out there. This is not. This performs. This isn't super easy to wear and like. It does have a little bit of a challenge, but it's not like pulling out this bad boy, trust me. I think it's easy enough to wear, yet a decent oud challenge to where you get your hands on this, you're only going to spend 20 bucks, and if you like wearing this, you'll probably like a lot of oud fragrances, and you can start really changing your taste and, you know, seasoning your palate and your olfactory for oud. I really think this is a great spot to start. One of the best out there, especially if you get it for $20 at a rack store like Burlington, Marshall's, wherever they pop up. Because like I said, it's not as synthetic as you would think it would be since it's a Banana Republic fragrance. A Banana Republic oud of all things. Yeah. Reason I say it was a risky blind buy because it could have just been absolutely terrible because it's a Banana Republic oud fragrance. But it definitely worked out. I like to recommend this one when it comes to places to start with oud because this one will tell you if you like it or not. Tell you if you like oud. It's Banana Republic, number 17, Oud Mosaic. The next one may surprise you that something like this could be in a video like this. So let me give you a little backstory. The reason I even bought this big 200 milliliter bottle is because the price was so right. Still an almost $140 blind buy though. It's a designer fragrance. And because I heard just so much, it's the worst one to get the Eau de Toilette, if not get the Eau de Parfum. And look, I got naysayed for a little while. It detoured me. I bought in and I was like, you know what? They say it doesn't perform, it doesn't project, a few hours and it's gone. It's anosmia based on my experience. But believe it or not, Dior Sauvage Parfum. Look, I love this stuff. Those of you that have been watching me for a little while, you know I love this fragrance. I love this fragrance. This is my favorite version of Sauvage. It just worked out. It's the most refined. It's got a light sweetness and smokiness to it. Though Ambroxan's not listed in the notes, of course Ambroxan's in there. They just didn't list it for some reason. But anosmia, going nose blind, that's the problem here, okay? It's not that it don't perform. This stuff lasts hours and hours and hours and hours. It's on your clothes the next day, the whole nine. And it actually does project pretty well. It's not as heavy of a projection as the Eau de Toilette, but it definitely projects just as well for me as the EDP. It's just I go anosmic to it. Others around me have told me hours in, woo, when I walk by, man, that smells good. What is that? 7-8 hours in, and they're 4 feet away from me. You know, it's an anosmia thing. And like I said, I got naysayed a lot to keep me from buying this. But Sam, who tagged me in this video, he bought the same deal I did. Shout out to you, Sam. We bought the exact same deal at the exact same time on FragranceNet. I think it was like $134. After the coupon code, we got these 200 mLs. Now they're like $196. Big difference, okay? But this was an relatively expensive blind buy that, like I said, I was naysayed about. And all signs pointed to this was the worst one to get. And turns out it's my favorite version of Sauvage. I love this stuff. This is definitely a risky blind buy because of the price and what I heard about it. That actually worked out. I think it's great. Dior Sauvage Parfum. Next is one that can be considered overly feminine by a lot of people. And that is what I read. That is what I was told. That was what I heard. And look, I get it. It can definitely be extremely feminine. It's definitely geared more towards the ladies, though marketed as unisex. You got to be a confident guy that likes jasmine. Essentially, jasmine and vanilla. That being Mancera Black Vanilla. Look, this is... I hate how it's not focusing. I would love for it to focus. That would be great. There we go. So, sorry about that, guys. Mancera Black Vanilla. White peach. That white peach note up top makes a very feminine opening. Very girly smell up top. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not. But as it dries, the black currant mixes so well to add that little bit of bitter fruitiness to the vanilla and jasmine that's in here. It is absurdly powerful. There is no subtleties with black vanilla. It really is a huge risk of a blind buy if you don't like feminine leaning fragrances. Because look, this one just doesn't just lean a little feminine. In the opening first 30 minutes or so, I'm not going to sit here in front. Smell like a chick, you know? But as you let it dry, it's beautiful. You definitely got to be a confident guy to pull this one off. This is one that I thoroughly enjoy. Obviously, I don't wear all the time. Very situational for me. I got to be in the mood for it. But it's not one that I regret. It's a blind buy that I do enjoy. Wife loves this one a lot too. Loves the way it smells on me more than she loves the way it smells on her. So keep that in mind. Definitely one I would not suggest you guys go out and blind buy. Probably should sample first. I probably should have sampled first, but like I said, I don't regret the blind buy. I actually really like this fragrance, and it's one that I need to pull out. Now that I'm sitting here talking about it, it's one I haven't worn in a while that warrants me wearing it because I enjoy it so much, especially in the dry down. And look, it's a powerhouse. It's a 12 plus hour fragrance, just like its big brother Red Tobacco that's the same bottle size from the same line. It's a powerhouse. It's 12 plus hours. It's enormous projection, beyond heavy. It's a lot. It really projects for hours and hours. Nothing subtle here. If you want to dial it back 2 to 3 sprays, you want to let it fly and fill the room, 5, 7, 8 sprays, whatever, it's a beast for sure. Definitely a risky blind buy that ended up working out. Mancera Black Vanilla. Now, considering how much I love this fragrance, it might surprise you that it's in this video, but because of what it costs to get it, even when I got it, it was only $115 at the time. It's a bold move because it's been touted as, you know, very feminine. This was straight up my first fragrance in this line. This was where I started, was the riskiest and most expensive one. And I'm talking about Dior Homme Parfum. The hype is real on this one, people. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you've probably seen me talk about this one in a video before. I do have a backup bottle of it as well. I blind bought this one. As soon as I got it, I sprayed it one time. I immediately got on with my guy I got it from and said, do you have any more left? And bought another one. Glad I did, because what I paid for the 2 bottles costs you a little more than that for 1 bottle here in the US these days. But God, it's so good. It's so good. If you love Iris, this is one of the best ones ever. Really is one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best designer fragrances ever created. I love this stuff. Super, 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 super happy to have it. But it was a little risky because I had not dove into the Dior Homme line yet. And I started with the Mac Daddy of the Dior Homme line. The boldest buy, because Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Eau, the other Iris fragrances in the line that were still weren't discontinued at the time, were the safer plays. If you want to try the Dior Homme line, really the best bet is start with the original Dior Homme. I stand by that. You should start with Dior Homme. But I'd heard so much about this one, I was like, screw it. Go hard or go home. Spent the money, got it, fell in love. What a great blind buy. I actually have 2 bottles of it now. So definitely a blind buy that risky in a sense that I started with the boldest and most expensive in the line. And it turned out I absolutely love it. Dior Homme Parfum. Last here today, this is another one that may be shocking for you because it's such a mass appealing fragrance and I've touted how great it is. very recently. I've done a full review on it. But when I went to pull the trigger, it was kind of filler. It was in my FragranceBuy.ca order from a few months ago. It was filler. I added it to get to the 5th fragrance to get the free shipping. It wasn't what I went to Fragrance Buy for, because I thought it was just another hype beast fragrance. That nothing special. It's going to be generic, run of the mill. I've got a ton of those fragrances already. Why do it? For Bentley, it's still expensive as a cheapie. It's affordable. It's better than retail, but even $46 for a Bentley fragrance that's usually the rest of the line's like $30 everywhere else. I'm talking about Silver Lake. Shocking, I know. Can't believe I would put Silver Lake in here, right? I thought going into it, it was just going to be another generic, aquatic, basic hype beast. I really did. And like I said, it was filler. It was number 5 in my order to get me to the free shipping. And it ended up being my favorite fragrance in the damn haul. You know, this is a great release. The hype is real, in my opinion, of course, on Bentley for Men's Silver Lake. Yes, it smells like it belongs in the Acqua di Gio line. And yes, it performs. I can't compare it directly to Acqua di Gio Essenza, but it smells pretty damn like a rich Acqua di Gio that performs, so I'm guessing that's what Essenza is. So that's legit. And I think FragranceBuy.ca still has it in the $46 range, and it's justified. It's worth the $46 for a fragrance that I was very meh about even putting in my cart and was just filler in an order to get free shipping. Ended up being my favorite grab in the entire order. It's funny how that stuff works out. So it's definitely was a meh, I'm gonna just throw it in the cart type of thing that ended up being a blind buy that really actually worked out for me. I love this stuff. Bentley for Men, Silver Lake. So that's the 10 for me. Until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. What's some blind buys that you would tout risky for one reason or another? Whether it be price, things you've heard or read or seen online, or just whatever have you. Because I got naysayed on a few of these where I was like, probably shouldn't do that. But over time, that's taught me a very important lesson that I like to convey to you guys. Don't just trust what I say or what the next man says or the next lady says or what you read in something. Try it for yourself. You never know. Might be something you absolutely love. Might end up being your favorite fragrance in your collection. Don't knock something until you try it for yourself. Try your skin. Don't just trust me and others you may watch, read, or see things from. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of these and you give them a spray now, pretty sure you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.